Hello lovelies, and welcome to today's video. My name's Alya and I'm so glad you popped in. So today we're going to be talking about what is healthy aging and mentioning some of the different symptoms and different diseases that you need to be concerned about or not concerned about, what's normal and what might need a bit more attention by a health professional. We're creating this beautiful, I'm so in love with this, with the stunning products that I have on my eyes and cheeks by Double Down Cosmetics. And a little bit of Savvy Minerals and a little bit of Aether Beauty, three beautiful, natural, toxin-free, clean companies that I could not be prouder about supporting. So stick around to find out a little bit more about what is healthy aging for the eye, what that might look like, what that might entail, and see me create this shimmery, dazzling look. So sometimes we get these really interesting symptoms, and it can be really daunting. And look, it's not always going to be something that you can blame on just natural progression. But I'm here to sort of take away some of the scariness of the word age. An aging eye actually begins probably about after 25. You kind of get this 10-year period of sort of plateau, roughly 10-year period of plateau, where you don't get any further development of the eye. So it's no longer a young eye looking to grow, but it's not yet an old eye going backwards either. And a lot of the time people come to me complaining of the same kind of thing, and you know, they swear black and blue, they don't need glasses, but yet they're getting all these symptoms. So it's a bit of a worry that yes, sometimes you may feel that you're otherwise really youthful and you don't have any problems, but yet these eyes of yours are starting to show your age. Don't fret. I know people who have had to start wearing reading glasses as young as 40, and that's really super young. I even have a patient currently that's in them at 35. I personally had to start wearing reading glasses when I was about 19. I probably should have had them sooner, but just didn't know about it. And then I came out of them. I no longer need them. And you know, I'm 35 now, and officially, and I just no longer need them. I actually wore them today to try and read a book, and normally I would not have been able to read a book at all without glasses on, because it's just too difficult for my muscles to cope, and often the light's not right and all this sort of stuff. But today I was actually much more comfortable without the glasses. And there's things that are going to change about you with time, sometimes for the better and sometimes it's a bit of a pain. Okay, we definitely need to build up this corner with a much flatter colour. I think I might go for the Amethyst palette from Aether Beauty. I've just got this one beautiful colour called Crown Chakra. I'm just going to use it on a flat brush just to build up that crease with all this shimmer going on. So some of the normal things that happen, or the main part of the normal progression of the eye, is referred to as presbyopia. So presbyopia is just the term that reflects on the fact that the muscles of the eye, inside the eye, are no longer as good at bending the lens, the crystalline lens that sits right behind the pupil, and the lens itself is no longer as flexible. Now this is going to happen at really different rates for different people. It will depend on your sun exposure, it will depend on genetics, it will depend on other underlying conditions, how much inflammation the eye has gone through in its life, because some conditions like juvenile arthritis, for example, can exacerbate things like cataract growth. People who have autoimmune disease or diabetes will go through a very different aging process to the eyes than other people. Have your eyes had other treatment before? All of these things are really important. But also genetics. Sometimes some family groups will just have a younger rate of aging eyes. And sometimes people have been long-sighted their entire life, completely been unawares because the muscles have been coping. And you get to a point where the muscles are just starting to not cope anymore, but because your eyes are weak to begin with, that tiny little bit over the edge is over the edge too far, and it starts to cause a problem. So these are all things that happen with completely healthy eyes that don't have any kind of disease or any kind of problem really, but they're just starting to show a little bit of what we normally expect to happen around 50. Okay, if you are indeed 50 and things are happening to your eye, then you're just normal and there's nothing to worry about at all. Of course, after 40, I would definitely encourage that everybody have about a 2 to 3 yearly eye checkup. I think that's really important. It can be with just your local optometrist. It doesn't have to be with a specialist or anything like that unless you're worried about something. Just to make sure that you're not developing any kind of glaucoma or any kind of issue that's really, worrisome, and that you get into glasses quickly enough. The reason I say that is people who wait on it and believe that your eyes need, become weaker as soon as you start wearing reading glasses. What actually starts to happen is they hold out well enough for the first few years, and that's fine. But then what happens is they fatigue so badly, the muscles are under so much pressure from not having any assistance from glasses, that they tend to run out of their, what I call the eye's goodwill, pretty quickly. So they cope, and then just they stop coping. And when they stop coping, it can cause migraines, it can cause twitching eyes, it can cause some pain in the eyes. I've seen red eyes, all kinds of things. So this presbyopia that we speak of, the normal aging that we can expect to get, what are the symptoms? What's normal? The first thing that people tend to notice is that the text messages on your phone suddenly have to have a larger font. That's usually the big one, because frankly, text messages on phones are tiny, and if you don't have it set into dark mode, they're really hard to actually discern. Like, the contrast is just not there, and it's really hard to see even for a really good sighted eye. So my recommendation is to not have it on light mode anyway. Everything should be in dark mode and with blue light filter anyway, just to stop the eyes from fatiguing so quickly. But then you will still find that that contrast is just not there and the font needs to get bigger, which is fine. But it gets to a point where no matter how far you push the phone away or how big you make the font, and the same thing will go for the newspaper or any other kind of reading material, you'll start to sort of find that your arms are just not long enough. So what do you do then? You can't make a newspaper any bigger like you can a phone or a Kindle or iPad or whatever. So what do? So a lot of people find that if they sit in the natural light, near a window or something, they see a lot more. And that's very accurate. The natural light from a window or from the sun has far more lumen than any kind of artificial light will have, no matter how bright it seems. The other thing is you get a lot of scattering with artificial light. You don't really get that much with the sun. Not only do you get more lumen with the sun, you get more of a range as well, so more in the spectrum of light too. So I guess the main message about things that are looking a lot like the eye is weakening, or the eye is becoming a little bit, or the eye is starting to have a little bit of difficulty coping with certain things, is that glasses are not the enemy. Glasses are really just an aid to help us cope with changes to the eye. Changes which we all will go through and are all very natural. We don't have to always go through them at the same time or at the same age. It will be very, very variable. I've had patients in their 40s be ready for cataract surgery and have poor sight due to cataract and really, really advanced changes to their eye, and that's fine. We can't really blame that on just wear and tear. There's obviously something going on there. But then other patients will just need reading glasses, or just will need to adjust their habits and their lifestyle to suit their vision better. And that's fine too. And that's something that your eye care professional can really help you with. But if it's difficult to access an eye care professional, or something's keeping you from going in, then you should know that most likely it's just a prescription issue, but it's always a good idea to check. The other thing that can cause a little bit of sort of difficulty with sight is dry eye. A lot of us will get drier eyes as we age. If you are one of those people that are not always blurry and aren't really that helped out that much by a better light, my first reaction would be to try some lubricating eye drops, something preservative free, something that comes from a reputable brand, preferably from a chemist rather than say a supermarket. Something that's over the counter but from a chemist would be ideal. There are a lot of really sophisticated eye drops available worldwide on the market with really, really great safe ingredients that have been very, very therapeutically beneficial. If you don't have that, another thing that you can treat your dry eye with is with increasing omega-3s in your diet. There's been a lot of studies to show that vegan omega-3s, even though they're not as readily bioavailable, they actually, by some weird trick of biology, help the eyes more so than, say, just fish oils. Not all people who get to a certain age are going to need reading glasses. Some people are just naturally short-sighted, and what's going to actually happen is their distance vision that was previously a little bit poor and very heavily dependent on glasses will actually start to improve. And you get through a few decades of improvement before it starts going back the other way again. Also, all very normal, healthy things that are happening. Nothing sort of dramatic or dangerous there, and it's completely expected. So if you've been to see your optometrist or optician and your glasses have been updated within the last sort of year or so, you have tried lubricating drops, and still things aren't exactly how you expect them to be, that's when I would start to ask more questions. Some diseases will only develop with age. For example, we don't really expect to see glaucoma before 40. It's probably secretly there, but we just don't see any damage. We don't see any kind of traceable signs of it earlier than 40 typically. And even 40, that's kind of when you want to get your baseline. That's not when you're necessarily looking to start any kind of treatment for glaucoma. The eye is really good with coping with most things for a really long time. Having said that, people do get juvenile diseases, so things that happen outside of the expected age bracket. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about things that develop with time. They will tend to develop later. Age-related macular degeneration is another one. Typically, we don't see that till 70, but I do have patients, unfortunately, as young as 50 that are already undergoing treatment for the disease. Things like diabetes can completely change the game. Again, not just for vision, but also for retinal changes and vascular changes. My, message to most people is that if you've been at least once to an eye professional of some kind of qualification, what that then gives you is a baseline. Whether they take a photograph or just at least give you the all clear, and don't make any mention of something unusual about your nerve or something unusual about your macula or something to worry about your vessels in your eye. They think that your vision is normal. They think that your pupils are normal. And if you sort of think about all the different steps of anatomy in the eye, all the different layers there, as long as they haven't made mention of any of those different layers or structures, then at least you know that the baseline is normal. So later on, if a professional finds something unusual, you can say, you know what, back in 2000 and whatever, things were normal. So at least you have that reference point. Or on the other hand, you might say, oh, you know, a guy I saw 15 years ago said there was something unusual about my nerve. But then 15 years ago, you weren't in that age group where there was a risk factor. So we can sort of go back, okay, maybe this is something you were just born with, and it's nothing to pull our hair out about and rush to treatment with. The biggest sign of healthy aging, or nothing to be alarmed about aging, is that there isn't any change occurring. We have plenty of patients, many, that have nerves that seem like they might have a risk of glaucoma, for example, but it never develops into anything. And the reason for that is that we're all very unique in our anatomy. The eye is more unique than a fingerprint. Each eye is more unique than a fingerprint. So if you can take that into consideration, there will be a handful of people that will just present unusual eyes or certain factors that are mimicking disease, but never actually show any kind of progression. Sometimes we've had an illness in the past or had a prescription medication in the past that caused a short temporary change to our anatomy. We never knew about it. It didn't have any symptoms. Nobody was concerned. But then over time, it gets picked up. And this is all things that are really, really important, and you'll find that your clinician will be asking you these type of questions if they're concerned. Okay, my lovelies, I hope that you enjoyed watching me create this really fun neutral look by Double Down Cosmetics. Got them on my cheeks and on my eyes. Also, off camera, I had a little bit of Savvy Minerals. You saw me do my eyebrows with Savvy Minerals as well. So little bits and pieces from here and there, including a little bit of Ether Beauty as well. So all beautiful, natural, clean, toxin-free products, lovely brands, really, really fantastic companies and really great people behind them. The takeaway message today is that if you are just needing to increase the size or put on or change your reading glasses, that's normal. If you can cure it with glasses or drops, that's all normal. It's only if you have more pressing concerns that you need professional advice and someone to really look inside your eye. Please do have your eyes checked regularly. It's really important for the upkeep of your general eye health. If you liked today's video, I'd love you to press that big thumbs up and leave me a like. Comment below if you have any questions or queries or suggestions about eye health. Head over to Instagram to see more fun stuff about the daily things that happen in Alya's world. Please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Lots of room to grow on this channel, and I just love bringing you these videos, so I do hope that you hit that big red subscribe button to join the creative space. Wherever you are around the world, lovelies, I hope you're having an amazing time, you're enjoying your January, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Bye!